Sup guys, welcome to Mad Mass. Today we're going to be doing a video about Austrian bodybuilder Andreas Munzer, and whether or not he can be considered an uncrowned Mr. Olympia. Andreas was an IFBB pro bodybuilder, competing mostly in the late 80s and mid 90s. He was known for having some of the craziest conditioning the bodybuilding world has ever seen. The level of striations in his delts, pecs, and everywhere was just insane. Also, his proportions were very good. He was an extremely aesthetic bodybuilder. Weighing 234 pounds on stage, at a height of 5 foot 8 inches tall, he wasn't a mass monster, but he wasn't small either. He competed in the era of Lee Haney, so weighing in the mid-200s was still very respectable. But being as shredded as Andreas was, did not come without a cost, and the cost was ultimately his life. He died in 1996, shortly after competing in two back-to-back shows, the Arnold Classic and the San Jose Pro Invitational. The cause of death was multiple organ failure, and the results from his autopsy were pretty shocking. For one, it found he had almost zero body fat, which is pretty clear looking at his shredded physique. And also, many of his organs were severely damaged. His liver had a tennis ball-sized tumor and weighed about 50% more than a normal liver. Additionally, they found more than 20 different drugs in his bloodstream, including diuretics, a dehydrating drug that allows you to look more shredded. Andreas gave his life to the sport of bodybuilding, but he never won a Mr. Olympia title. The best placing he ever had at the Olympia was 9th place at the 1994 Olympia, so he was able to crack the top 10. So let's take a look at the 1994 Olympia lineup to see if he was robbed and should have placed higher than 9th. The top 3 at the Olympia that year were Dorian Yates, Sean Ray, and Kevin Levrone. Dorian and Kevin were significantly bigger than Andreas, but Sean is of similar size, so we'll compare the two of them. We'll focus on comparing them in the most muscular here. As you can see, Andreas has significantly better conditioning. The amount of lines you see in his delts and pecs is world class. Sean, on the other hand, is a lot fuller in the upper body. His chest and arms are much thicker than Andreas's. In the legs, they are pretty comparable. Both have great separation, cross striations, and pretty good size. Overall, I think I would give them a pretty similar score on this pose. Andreas's superior conditioning is offset by the greater fullness on Sean. Given this comparison, can Andreas be considered an uncrowned Mr. Olympia? I don't think so. While his placing in 9th place is definitely too low, it's not fair to say he was robbed of the Olympia title. You can make the argument he should have been in the top 3, because I think the overall package he brought on stage was comparable to Sean's. But remember, Sean finished second to Dorian Yates, who arguably was in the best shape of his career in 1994. Andreas will go down as one of the freakiest bodybuilders in bodybuilding history who gave his life to the sport. And he was definitely underappreciated, never cracking the top 6 at the Olympia. As a tribute to Andreas, I'll show you guys some of his greatest appearances on stage.